So Fritz, when did you first start playing the drums?
Let's see. I can remember my father was a piano player, so we always had music in the house, and basically I always kind of was around music, and I really loved music, and I always knew that it kind of might be something I do. I played a little piano when I was very young, and kind of didn't take to that as quickly as I did to drums. What happened is, about 12 years old, my father had a really good friend who had sort of helped us come to the U.S. from Brazil. I was born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And he helped us kind of settle and get into the country, he was a sponsor, and at the time, it was 62, 63. And so my father came here first, and then we came here, and he basically kind of was my dad's really, really close friend, kind of like my goddad. And he was a drummer. And he was a big artist in Brazil. He played with a bunch of people, and when he moved to the U.S., he was a drummer for Jose Feliciano, and so he kind of knew that I was interested in drumming, and he left the drum kit at the house. I was about 12 years old, and I just, took to it right away. And kind of always was into drums and always loved the drums, and kind of, had this, enjoyed them and watched bands play. I remember seeing Ringo Starr on that Sullivan Show, and I've always sort of totally knew that I would always play drums because it was sort of my passion. And I kind of went to school with playing drums in mind. I went to took a few lessons and studied by myself, did a lot of my own kind of study, and then just kind of went on to high school playing drums. Was in bands all through high school, and ended up moving out of my parents' house because I got a gig and I was able to support myself.
So you started playing with Melissa years ago. How did that first opportunity come about to play with her?
You know what? The opportunity came is that she was actually writing some music for a movie called Weeds, and the bass player at the time, who knew Melissa, who had been working with her, a guy named Kevin McCormick, he called me to play on that session. And we had done that session, and he sort of we all kind of got along really well. It was me, I think it was a guy named Scott Thurston who plays with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers now. And he was at the session, and we kind of all got along and basically hung out. It was a long day. We waited for stuff to happen and recorded some music, and then I went off to work, I think, with a bunch of different people. And Kevin had called me and said, "Hey, listen, we did this record with Melissa, and she needs a drummer. What are you doing?" And I was on the road with somebody. Well, when you get back, call me. I want you to check this gig out. So we kind of got together in the Valley, played a couple of songs, and ended up going out on the road.
Wow.
To support that first record.
Yeah. And then you did your own stuff for a couple of years, and then how did it come about where you came back to play with her again?
What happened is that she ended up going off, we did a few records, did some tours, did a few records, and then we did the SIM record, and then basically kind of we hadn't talked for a while, and she kind of went off to do some stuff. I had just done a record with Jackson, and then, of course, his plan was saying, "I want to keep this band to go out and tour," and then she, unfortunately, I couldn't do both gigs. So I went off and did that, and then I ended up spending a couple of years working with them, making some records, work with other artists, just kind of session, movie stuff, just recording stuff, and Mark had called me several years after that and said, "Hey, listen, Melissa wants trying to find out if you're available to do some gigs." And I said, "Man, I would love to do them, but I can't. I'm already committed to this other thing I was doing." So it's a bit of a disappointment because I was really looking forward to it. And he goes, "You know what? It'll come again. Just, stand by. It'll happen." And then she called, I guess after she sort of did the chemo and did the cancer thing, she called looking to see what I was doing because she was going to do Oprah. And that's how that sort of came about. I was out on the road doing a gig with this country band called Sugarland. And Mark called and goes, "Hey, listen, Melissa wants to do this Oprah show, and she wants to know what you're doing." And I said, "Man, I'm doing this gig, but I'm down. I'll come out to do this show because it's kind of special." And he goes, "That's awesome. So we'll figure out a way." So I was able to fly in. We did a rehearsal. The following week came and did the Oprah show. And then kind of when I was leaving to go back to my country gig, and she said, "Hey, I think we're going to go do some gigs if you're into it." I said, "Yeah, call me in." So that was then I kind of thought, well, you know what? I think she's going to call and we're going to be able to do some more gigs. So I was kind of looking forward to that. So then, next thing you know, I think we ended up going off and doing some stuff at Houston Rodeo. We did a bunch of gigs after that.
Right. So what is it like playing with her now versus when you played with her years ago?
There's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences. I think the similarities are basically her passion and what she strives for and what she wants to do and what she wants to give back to the people that come and see her, that pay to see her play. that's the same. It's like similarities totally. Like she wants to give back to what the people, what the fans do, what the people come in. Everybody comes and sees Melissa and go, wow, that's kind of like her thing. The difference, I think, really, it's all about where you're at in your life. I think we've all grown, we've all matured in a lot of different ways, and she sees it in a different way. She kind of there's a different sort of angle on how to get things done, and it's because there's obviously different scenario because now everyone's a little older and everybody has similar reasons, but it's just different in respect. Now there's like more buses and it's more responsibility and the shows are bigger. Because I was there when we were playing clubs like this.
Right.
We used to play to we go to one city, play for 60 people, go to another city and play for 200 people in a little club. So we were in a van for a while. Wow. We were in Europe playing and traveling in like one of those panel vans, with gear in the back and the van.